Welcome to Fluent Fables. Today you are going to learn how to speak English with confidence. Step by step, you will follow 5 simple chapters that make learning clear and easy. By the end of this video, you will have a clear plan to improve your English every day. You will know what to learn first, how to practice, and how to enjoy the process. Chapter 1. Start with the basics. You begin your English learning journey today. You know that every big skill starts small. You do not try to jump to difficult lessons. You start with the very first step, the basics. You focus on the alphabet, the sounds of each letter, and how to say them clearly. You say A, B, C slowly, making sure your mouth moves the right way. You listen to recordings of native speakers, saying the alphabet, and you copy the sounds exactly. You also learn the names of the letters and the way they look. You can see that some letters have similar shapes, so you pay attention to them. You write each letter neatly on paper, again and again, until your hand feels comfortable. You do not hurry. You understand that if you rush, you make mistakes. After the alphabet, you start learning basic words. You choose words that you hear every day. Cat, dog, pen, book, table, chair. You speak these words slowly, and you repeat them many times. You look at a picture of a cat, and you say, cat. You point to a pen, and you say, pen. This way, your brain connects the word with the object. You also try to use the word in a sentence. You say, this is a pen. You say, that is a chair. Every time you speak, you hear yourself getting better. You understand that without a strong foundation, you cannot build good communication skills. You think about a house. If the base is weak, the whole building falls. English is the same. You must first make the base strong. That base is the alphabet, the simple words, and the easy sentences. You practice saying short and simple sentences like, I am a student. This is a book. And it is my bag. You do not feel bored when you repeat them many times. Repeating is your friend. Every time you repeat, the sentence becomes easier for your tongue to say. At first, you speak slowly, making sure each word is clear. Then you try a little faster, but you never lose clarity. You listen carefully to each sound. You notice that some sounds in English are not in your language. You practice them more. You open your mouth wider for some sounds, and you close it more for others. You feel the difference in your tongue position. You know that if you speak slowly at first, you will speak faster later without mistakes. Every day, you spend a few minutes reading aloud. You may read from a small English storybook, or even from your own notebook. You choose short sentences and speak them clearly. You hear your voice and you pay attention to the rhythm. You do not worry if you make mistakes. You stop, correct yourself, and try again. You also practice listening. You listen to English songs for children, short videos and recordings of native speakers. You repeat the words just as they say them. You understand that speaking well is not only about knowing words, but also about saying them in the right way. Sometimes you speak to yourself in English. You describe what you are doing. I am walking to the kitchen. I am making tea. I am reading a book. You do this to keep your mind thinking in English. The more you think in English, the faster your progress becomes. You use all types of present tense to train your mind. You say, I read every day. Present simple to talk about habits. You say, I am reading now. Present continuous when you are doing something at the moment. You say, I have read 3 pages. Present perfect to show that something is done in the present time. You say, I have been reading for 10 minutes. Present perfect continuous to explain how long you have been doing something. Using different forms of present tense helps you understand English grammar from the very beginning. You stay patient. You know that learning a language takes time. You do not compare yourself to others. You focus only on your own improvement. Every day you move one step forward. Every day you become a little better. You celebrate small successes, like saying a sentence without stopping, or reading a page without errors. You keep your practice simple but regular. You remember. Small daily practice is more powerful than long practice once a week. You give yourself a clear goal. 10 minutes of speaking aloud every morning. 5 new words every day. 1 short sentence written in your notebook daily. With this daily habit, you notice that your confidence grows. The basics are no longer difficult. The alphabet feels natural. The simple sentences come out without thinking. You are ready to learn more. But you never forget the importance of this first step. You started with the basics, and now you have a strong foundation for everything that comes next in your English journey. Chapter 2. Learn the power of vocabulary. You know that the more words you learn, the better you can express yourself. Words are the tools of a language. If you have more tools, you can build more sentences. If you have only a few tools, your sentences are short and simple. That is why you decide to grow your vocabulary every day. You start with simple, everyday words. Words you hear and use in daily life. You learn the names of food like rice, bread, milk, apple, banana. You learn the names of clothes like shirt, trousers, shoes, socks, hat. You learn words related to school like teacher, book, pen, desk, homework. You also learn family words like mother, father, sister, brother, uncle, aunt. These are words you can use immediately, so they are easy to remember. You keep a small notebook just for new words. You write the word on one side and its meaning or picture on the other side. Sometimes you also write an example sentence under the word. You do this because you know that a word is more useful when you see it in a sentence. For example, you write, apple, a fruit, I eat an apple every morning. You read the words in your notebook again and again. You understand that the brain needs to see and hear something many times before it remembers it. That is why you review your words every morning or every evening. Sometimes you close the notebook and test yourself. You say the meaning of the word without looking. You also make small sentences with each new word, because using them helps you remember. If you learn the word table, you say this is a table, or the table is brown. If you learn the word happy, you say I am happy today. The more you use a word, the more it stays in your memory. You do not try to learn 50 words in one day. You know that too many words at once will confuse you. You choose 5 or 10 words, but you learn them well. You pronounce them clearly. You write them correctly. And you use them in sentences. Learning a few words well is better than learning many words and forgetting them quickly. Over time, your vocabulary grows. You notice that you can understand more. When you listen to English songs, videos, or conversations, you can speak more easily because you have more words to choose from. You start feeling more confident. You can describe things better. You can tell a story without stopping too much to think about the right word. You use all types of present tense to practice your vocabulary. You say, I eat rice every day. Present simple to talk about habits. You say, I am eating rice now. Present continuous to describe something you are doing at the moment. You say, I have eaten rice today. Present perfect to talk about something done in the present time. You say, I have been eating rice for 10 minutes. Present perfect continuous to show how long you have been doing something. This way, you do not only learn the word rice, but also learn how to use it in different grammar forms. You also make vocabulary learning fun. You draw pictures of the words. You play games like matching the word with a picture. You make flashcards and test yourself. You challenge yourself to use new words in conversations, with friends or in messages. Every time you use a new word in real life, you remember it more deeply. You listen to English speakers and try to catch new words. You write them down immediately in your notebook. If you do not understand a word, you look it up later. You repeat it, say it aloud, and make your own sentence with it. You know that listening is a great way to grow your vocabulary because you hear the word in real use. You also read short English stories, news, or articles. Reading gives you new words in context. When you see a new word in a story, you can guess its meaning from the sentence. Then you check the meaning to be sure. You add it to your notebook. Reading every day gives you a steady supply of fresh vocabulary. Sometimes you revise old words, so you do not forget them. You understand that memory can fade if you never use a word again. That is why you keep returning to your notebook and practicing old words along with the new ones. Step by step, your collection of words grows. You feel proud when you can say something in English without searching for words in your mind. You realize that vocabulary is not just about knowing words. It is about using them in speaking, writing, listening, and reading. The more words you have, the more confident and free you feel in English. You remind yourself every day. Vocabulary is power. Each new word you learn is like a new key that opens more doors in the world of English. And you are collecting these keys one by one, with patience and practice. Chapter 3. Focus on grammar but keep it simple. You understand that grammar is the structure of a language. It is like the rules for building a house. Without structure, your sentences can break or sound strange. But you also know that you do not need to learn every grammar rule at once. You keep it simple and start with the most important part, tenses. You begin with the present tense because it is used every day. You learn how to say what you do regularly and what is happening right now. You say, I read books. To show a habit, you say, I am reading a book. To show an action you are doing now. You also learn the present perfect. I have read 3 books this month. To show something that is finished but still important now. Then you try the present perfect continuous. I have been reading for 1 hour. To show how long you have been doing something. You use these forms with different words, so your practice is not boring. After that, you move to the past tense. You learn how to say what you did before. You say, I played football yesterday. You try, I was playing football when it started to rain. You also learn the past perfect. I had played football before I went home. To show something that happened before another past event. Then you try the past perfect continuous. I had been playing for 2 hours before I rested. To talk about the duration of an action before another past event. Next, you learn the future tense. You practice, I will play football tomorrow. To talk about future plans, you say, I am going to play football this weekend. When you have already decided to do it. You try, I will be playing football at 5 p.m. To show what will be happening at a certain future time. You also learn, I will have played 5 games by next month. To show that something will be finished before a future time. Then you try, I will have been playing football for 3 years by next summer. To show how long you will have been doing something in the future. You do not try to learn all these forms in one day. You take them step by step. You practice one tense until you feel comfortable with it. And then you move to the next. You make small sentences with each tense. You say, I eat an apple. I ate an apple. I will eat an apple. You repeat these many times until they come naturally. You also pay attention to word order. You remember that in English, the subject comes first, then the verb, and then the object. You say, I like apples, not like apple's eye. This makes your sentences clear and correct. You also learn how to make questions by changing the order. Do you like apples? Or will you eat an apple? Sometimes, you practice by changing one sentence into different tenses. You take "I play football" and change it to "I am playing football." I played football. I will play football. And so on. This helps you understand how tenses work and how they change the meaning. You also use grammar in your daily life. You describe your actions. I am walking to the bus stop. You talk about yesterday. I walked to the bus stop. You plan for tomorrow. I will walk to the bus stop. By connecting
You make
grammar
it
to your
easier
real
to
life,
remember.
You do not get upset when you make mistakes. You know that mistakes are part of learning. When you speak and someone corrects you, you listen carefully. You repeat the correct sentence and try to remember it. Every correction helps you improve. You also listen to native speakers and notice their grammar. You hear how they talk about the past, present, and future. You try to copy their sentence patterns. You understand that
It is a
grammar
way
is
to
not
make your
just rules in a
communication
book.
clear and correct.
Every day, you practice a little. You might write 5 sentences in the present tense, 5 in the past tense, and 5 in the future tense. You read them aloud, listen to your own voice, and check if they sound right. You sometimes record yourself and listen again to find mistakes. Slowly, grammar becomes easier. You no longer stop in the middle of a sentence to think about the right form. The words come naturally. You feel more confident because you know that your sentences are correct and clear. You realize that grammar is not something to fear. It is a friend that helps you speak better English by keeping it simple and learning step by step. You build a strong grammar base. This base supports everything else you will learn in English. You are now ready to use your grammar skills in listening, speaking, reading, and writing every day. Chapter 4. Listen and copy. You know that listening is the secret to speaking well. When you listen carefully, you hear how words are really spoken. You notice the sounds, the rhythm, and the speed. You understand that speaking well is not only about knowing the words. It is about saying them the right way. You listen to many sources every day. You listen to podcasts, movies, songs, and real conversations. You choose topics that interest you, because when you enjoy the content, you listen more actively. You do not just hear the words. You pay attention to the way people speak. You copy the way they speak, just like a child copies adults. You repeat sentences exactly as you hear them. If you hear someone say, "How are you doing today?" you try to say it with the same tone and speed. You do not change the sentence. You copy the sounds, the voice, and even the pauses. This helps you improve your accent and pronunciation. You notice how native speakers join words together. They often do not pronounce each word separately. For example, going to becomes gonna, and want to becomes wanna. You listen for these changes. and try to use them when you speak. This makes your speech sound more natural. You also notice how they stress certain syllables. In English, some words have a strong beat, and others are softer. For example, in the word banana, the stress is on the second part, banana. You practice saying words with the right stress, so that people can understand you more easily. Sometimes, you feel funny when you copy the sounds. You might even laugh at yourself. But you know this is part of learning. You are training your mouth and tongue to move in new ways. You keep practicing, even if it feels strange at first. Over time, your speech becomes smoother and more natural. You use all types of present tense while practicing. You say, I listen to podcasts every day. Present simple, to talk about your habit. You say, I am listening to a podcast now. Present continuous, to describe what you are doing at the moment. You say, I have listened to 5 podcasts this week. Present perfect, to talk about something completed in the present time. You say, I have been listening for 1 hour. Present perfect continuous, to show how long you have been doing it. You also play a game with yourself called shadowing. You listen to a short sentence from a video or podcast. Pause it and repeat it immediately, trying to match the speaker's voice. Then you play it again and repeat again. This exercise helps you copy not only the words, but also the emotion, speed, and tone. You understand that listening is not passive. You do not just sit and hear sounds. You work with them. You ask yourself, how did the speaker say that word? Did they go up or down in tone? Did they speak fast or slow? These small details make a big difference in your speaking. You listen to different kinds of English: American, British, Australian, so you can understand many accents. You notice that some words sound different in each accent. You copy them all, so your ear gets used to the variety. When you talk to friends in English, you try to remember what you heard from native speakers. You use the same expressions and the same pronunciation. You practice speaking clearly, even if you are nervous. Every conversation is a chance to improve. You also record yourself speaking and then listen to it. You compare it with a native speaker's version. You ask, do I sound close? Is my stress correct? Is my pronunciation clear? You keep practicing until you hear the improvement. Every day, you make listening a habit. You might listen while walking, cooking, or waiting for the bus. Even if you only have 10 minutes, you use that time to listen and copy. Step by step, your brain gets used to English sounds, and your mouth learns to produce them easily. You realize that listening and copying is one of the fastest ways to sound natural. You do not need to live in an English-speaking country. You can bring English to your ears every day through technology. You keep doing it, and one day you notice that you are speaking without thinking too much. Your speech is smoother, your pronunciation is clearer, and your confidence is stronger. all because you learn to listen closely and copy exactly. This skill becomes one of your greatest tools for mastering English. Chapter 5. Practice every day and never give up. You understand that speaking English is like learning to play an instrument. You cannot become good in one day. You must practice daily. Every small effort adds up over time. You know that if you practice a little every day, you will improve faster than if you study for many hours. You talk to friends in English whenever you can. If your friends do not speak English, you find someone online or join a language group. You ask questions, share ideas, and tell short stories in English. You do not worry if your grammar is not perfect. You focus on speaking and expressing yourself. You also speak to yourself in English. You describe what you are doing. I am brushing my teeth. I am making breakfast. I am leaving the house. You talk about your plans. I will meet my friend this evening. I will watch a movie later. This habit keeps your brain active in English all day. Sometimes you even think in English. At first it feels strange, but soon it becomes natural. You look at an object and say its name in English in your mind. You think about your feelings and describe them in English. I feel happy. I am tired. I am excited. Thinking in English helps you speak more quickly, because you do not need to translate from your language. You are not afraid of making mistakes. You understand that mistakes are part of learning. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. If someone corrects you, you thank them and try again. You know that the more mistakes you make, the more progress you can achieve. You celebrate small wins. You feel proud when you order food in English for the first time. You feel happy when you introduce yourself to a new person and they understand you. You enjoy the moment when you understand a full sentence in a song or a movie. These small successes keep you motivated. You use all types of present tense to talk about your practice. You say, I practice English every day. Present simple, to show your habit. You say, I am practicing English right now. Present continuous, to describe what you are doing at the moment. You say, I have practiced English for 2 weeks without stopping. Present perfect, to show something that started in the past and continues now. You say, I have been practicing English for 1 hour. Present perfect continuous, to describe the length of time you have been practicing. You also make a simple plan for your daily practice. You might read a short story in the morning, listen to a podcast in the afternoon, and speak for 10 minutes in the evening. You write down your plan so you can follow it every day. On busy days, you still find small moments to practice. You listen to English while traveling. You read signs in English on the street. Or you repeat new words while waiting in line. You never skip a day, because you know that consistency is more important than speed. Some days you feel tired or lose motivation. On those days, you remind yourself why you started learning English. You remember your goals. Maybe you want to study abroad, get a better job, or talk to people from around the world. Thinking about your goals gives you energy to continue. You also make practice fun. You watch movies you enjoy. You sing along to songs. You play word games. Or you talk about topics you love. When you enjoy your practice, you want to do it more. Step by step, you become more confident. You notice that you speak faster. You understand more. And you remember more words. You stop worrying about every small mistake. You focus on communicating your ideas clearly. One day, without realizing it, you speak in English without fear. You join a conversation, share your opinion, and understand the replies. You feel free and happy. That is the day your hard work pays off. You look back and see that. It was your daily practice, your patience, and your decision to never give up that made you successful. You smile and tell yourself, I am speaking English. I am living my dream. And you keep going, because learning never really ends.